Melissa Joan Hart, Alimi Ballard, John Ratzenberger. There are definitely pull factors with the SantaCon. The fact that it's directed by Melissa Joan Hart for a lifetime, definitely something that was going to pique my interest. The film itself, however, is not it's not quite as exciting as I expected and definitely not the most festive, but I enjoyed the time I spent watching it. This was released in 2014, directed, as I said, by Melissa Joan Hart and written by David Breckman. And this is about a character called Nick, played by Barry Watson, who has been in prison for basically being a very clever liar. He's a con man, he is a cheat. He gets released, and during a small stint as a Santa, he accidentally promises this little boy something that he definitely can't deliver. The real Santa definitely couldn't deliver. So he makes it his mission to try and make that little boy's dream a reality. Unfortunately, that dream revolves around that little boy's recently divorcing parents. I won't say any more than that, but I will say that his task seems impossible. You know, if the real Santa can't do it, certainly this Nick from planet Earth, that Santa's from North Pole. You know what I mean. Nick the mortal certainly can't do it. But will he? I was genuinely curious about that. I had no idea if or how he would pull it off. I would have been surprised if he hadn't pulled it off, but I also would have been surprised if he had pulled it off because it seems impossible. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you which way it goes, but I will say that that part of the narrative was kept quite fresh and unpredictable. Where it falls short is how interesting the characters are. Nick as a character was interesting to begin with. I was curious to know why he was in prison and what he was going to do now that he was out of prison. But beyond that, I feel like it's not that interesting. Carol, as our female protagonist, our female lead, played by Melissa Sage Miller, is, she's an interesting enough character. She wasn't annoying, she wasn't overreacting, but I just didn't find anything about her that I thought I could be sympathetic about. I didn't really care. John, the father, her husband, who she is currently separated from, not a character I liked, but a fantastic performance, played by Scott Grimes, and this individual took to drink. That's mainly the reason why the marriage broke down. And in this, he is quite drunk a lot of the time, and I thought his performance was incredible. If you told me he was drunk on set and he wasn't actually acting, or he was methoding, I would believe you. Absolutely incredible performance, very moving. Melissa Joan Hart plays Rose DeMarco, Nick's sister. She's not in it that much, but obviously when she was in it, definitely a pull factor for me. John Ratzenberger, he has this habit of appearing in films that I watch when I watch them without knowing he is in it, which makes me smile because I love him. He is in it a little bit, not as much as I'd like, but still pretty decent. Same with Alimi Ballard, who, of course, was Quizmaster in Sabrina, so that just makes me smile so much when I get to see characters from Sabrina in the same film. It's not a bad film. There's nothing about the narrative that I think was unrealistic or poorly developed, but at the same time, there's nothing about it that made me overexcited. I guess the unpredictability of the development of the narrative definitely works in its favour and is definitely a big bonus for the film. But most of the characters I didn't really care for. The casting, though, I loved. So it's definitely quite balanced insofar as some of it I adored, some of it I didn't really care for. Would I recommend it, though? Yes, I would. If you're looking for a Christmas film that you haven't seen and you like the sound of the SantaCon, or you like the sound of the cast of the SantaCon, give it a go. I think you'll enjoy it, but it's definitely not one to go for if you're looking for a really festive film, because it's not the most festive. If you do watch it, let me know what you think. Definitely not a bad film.